Welcome to Financial Focus, brought to you by GulfCoast Financial Services founder and CEO, John Kuykendall. John and his team of financial, legal, and tax professionals have been providing North Florida savers and investors sound, comprehensive financial guidance for over 30 years, helping you to achieve important life and planning goals. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more Financial Focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net.
And we are here with John Kuykendall, founder, CEO of GulfCoast Financial Services. They have been named Best of the Best in Financial Services 8 years and running by the readers of the Lake City Reporter. 30 years serving proactive North Central Florida savers and investors, planning and preparing for your financial futures. Ladies and gentlemen, if you need help and assistance, you can call GulfCoast Financial Services at 386-755-9018. That is 386-755-9018. And John, on today's episode, talking about one of the most important factors, the cornerstone, if you will, of retirement planning in America. It is Social Security. So important, yet so many factors that we don't discuss and that go unknown to many until after they've made some decisions on Social Security.
Well, it's probably the most confusing thing that we will do when we get 65 or when we reach 62. We have the ability to start our Social Security. And it's something that nobody's given us education on. Peter, I mean, they don't talk about this in school. When you're in college, they're not talking about you getting your Social Security. And so we work all these years and supposedly we put this money aside and it's in this trust fund for us. And then when we retire, we're going to get it. But then we make so many bad decisions that affect a lot of money. I mean, we leave a lot of money on the table because we make dumb decisions, me included. I mean, you know, I should have waited, but nobody told me. And if you call Social Security, they're more than happy to sign you up at any age because they're not there to give you advice. They're there to take your order and send you a check. And so a lot of people make a huge mistake, make blundering checks. And, you know, there are things, there's still, even though we eliminated many of the loopholes that gave us some extra income, there are still things that we can do to give us more income, and it will not affect our Social Security in the long run.
We need to understand some of the options, some of the strategies between a married couple, the different combinations and ways that we can claim and collect and time our benefits. But John, it comes down to timing is a very important factor in when and how to claim and collect Social Security. As you stated, the folks down at the Social Security Administration office do not provide proactive advice or guidance on the decision of when to time collecting Social Security. They are there to process the request, not to tell you if the request is correctly timed or in your best interest. They don't take on that liability.
No, they don't. That's not what they're there for. They're strictly to not help you maximize your Social Security. They're there to help you get the forms filled out, get what you need done, and make sure that you get your check. That's what they get paid for. But you know what's amazing, Peter, is we have all of this software and computers available to us now that show us how to maximize Social Security, tell us exactly when we should file, who should file, how they file, and yet we don't take advantage of it. We still, call Social Security. There's two schools of thought. One school is, when I reach 62, I'm going to get my money because I don't want to lose it, and the government's not going to have it forever.
Get it while the getting's good. The building's on fire, right? Get all you can out now.
Yeah, and then the other school of thought is, well, I'm full retirement age, FRA, full retirement age. And so I'm not going to be penalized for taking my money early. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my money now. And then there's the third school, which is the one that works if we can handle it, is I wait till age 70 and my money grows 8% a year, compounded until I reach 70. And so I'm going to get a much bigger check. And one of the things we don't think a lot about is spousal planning. because, if one spouse dies, I don't get to keep both checks. The largest check I get to keep, the smaller check I got to give back. And so in some cases, it can be 40% of my income is out the window if I lose a spouse. Now, that's in addition to the trauma of losing a spouse, medical bills, and other things that may have incurred. So how can I take a 40% cut and still survive when we just got, when we talk about sequence of return risk and all the risk in the market, there's no way to make that up. So we need to be frugal. We need to plan. We need to get that financial focused income plan and let us show you how to maximize your Social Security and where the break-even point is. And, not everybody's the same. If you're not working, because, first of all, if I take it at age 62, I'm going to have a 30% haircut. I'm going to lose 30% of my money up front. I'm also going to have an earnings test. So I'm going to give back $1 for every $2. I think it's over like 19,000 some dollars that I make. So I can't continue to work full time and still draw my Social Security at age 62. So there's a lot of planning. There's a lot of things that we need to think about. And we need to make sure that we've got that financial focused income plan and look at that Social Security maximization.
And then, John, you haven't even yet mentioned the taxability of those Social Security benefits and income. Yet another layer where they giveth and taketh away.
Well, who would think that Social Security is taxable? And Social Security is not taxable on itself. But what it does is when you add it to your income, then it puts you in different tax brackets, and therefore it is taxed at whatever bracket you're in. So if you're married filing jointly and you make over $44,000, then up to 85% of your Social Security is subject to income tax. And so we've got a plan for that in our planning. Single, it's over 35 or 34,000 that I'm going to have to pay 85% taxes on that money. There's no free lunch, Peter. And so we can't expect to get this money free. It's going to add in. Now, if I'm not making a lot, if I don't have a lot of money, then my Social Security really isn't taxed because I'm not filing an income tax bracket anyway. So, but it is, it comes taxable as we make more money.
Taxes, penalties, earnings limitations, all things you need to know and understand. And you've got to run the numbers for your specific set of circumstances, your situation. John, one of the things that I have found with the tools and the calculators that are available is almost hands down every time they say wait and delay and claim your benefit as late as possible. They almost all say you should just wait until 70 with life expectancies as long as they are in today's modern world. But what I've noticed that those calculators don't take into account is the rest of my financial situation. They almost imagine as though Social Security is all alone by itself in a vacuum. They do not work very well to incorporate the withdrawals that I may have to take on personal assets or the rate of return that I would be foregoing by drawing down on investment accounts and retirement accounts in lieu of taking that Social Security income. That's what the financial focus retirement and income plan is really going to help us drill down and incorporate.
Well, that's right, Peter. I mean, not everybody can wait till age 70, nor should everybody wait. But if you can wait, then you should. But some people need to go ahead and draw at full retirement age. They need to draw, maybe sooner, but so that we can work that income plan. We can see what the income shortage is. If we can wait till age 70, that's great. But, there are other loopholes. Like if you're divorced and you were married for 10 years, you can actually file on your divorced spouse and let yours continue to accumulate. So I just had this situation with a client where she filed on her husband's, was receiving a check for about $1,500 for 5 years. And then at age 70, hers kicked in and she's almost $4,000 a month. So, that little extra income helped her, but at the same time, at age 70, because she's single, she's going to have a nice paycheck every month because we were able to wait. But what we have to do is take into consideration how much we're short. We don't want to have to rely totally on your investment bucket. We've got to have that fixed income bucket, as I call it, so that we can see how much we're going to be short and how we're going to make it up, and then plan Social Security accordingly. And you're perfectly correct. Not everybody should wait till age 70. There are many cases where we don't even recommend it. And there are also many cases where the difference between taking it now and age 70 really isn't that big a number compared to the overall scheme of their financial plan.
John, can you think of any examples in your career where a little bit of time dedicated to educating ourselves on Social Security made a significant impact and difference in retirement for an individual?
Well, I can think of numerous instances, Peter, where we have shown people that they were leaving money on the table. An example, I had a guy who had a fairly large income. He was maxing out his Social Security every year, planned on waiting till age 70, but his wife was full retirement age and she was drawing hers. So what we did was we drew a spousal on him, which gave him $900 a month until he reached age 70. And then we switched over to his. So that was $900 a month for 4 or 5 years that he wouldn't have had if we hadn't done the plan. Now, it wasn't like he didn't need it. I mean, we could have gotten by without it, but it's there. There's no reason not to take advantage of it. You know, there's going to be some changes to Social Security, as you and I have talked in the past. 2035 is where we're projected to only be able to have 80 cents on the dollar to pay. And so at some point in time, there are going to be significant changes to Social Security. And I really believe that we're going to be indexed for income, kind of like we are with Medicare Part B, that the more you make, the less you're going to get of your check. And so we need to plan for that also, so that we make sure that if we get a haircut, that we've got enough income coming in to take care of anything that's there.
So much to be aware of and consider when making these important, by the way, lifelong decisions. Not only lifelong, but the impacts and effects of how you claim and collect Social Security can actually have implications that stretch beyond your own lifetime on spouses and families. So you've got to educate yourself up front, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to make a well thought through and informed decision. And it is part of and incorporated into the financial focused retirement and income plan, the proprietary planning process there at GulfCoast Financial Services. If you would like to have that complimentary review and planning strategy session and get your own financial focused retirement and income plan, pick up the phone and give John Kuykendall and the team a call now. 386-755-9018. That is 386-755-9018. 386-755-9018. John, more than just a knee-jerk reaction or an impulsive decision, we need to spend some time and dedicate some time to learning more and making a well-thought-through decision on Social Security.
Well, we have to, Peter. You've got to remember that since 2000, we've lost 40% of the purchasing power of those people who are receiving Social Security. Their goods, their goods are, a dollar now is only worth 60 cents because we haven't kept up with inflation. Inflation has almost doubled that number. The cost of living has only gone up 64%. The cost of goods has gone up almost twice that. So there's a certain need that we need to plan. We need to make sure that we maximize Social Security. And I got to tell you, Peter, this stuff wasn't available when I started drawing my Social Security. I mean, that was 12 years ago. And I don't think that, I would have made a lot different changes because I would have had a $4,000 check instead of a $2,500 check for the past 7 years, which would have made up for what I, lost by waiting. And I didn't need the money. So it was not a situation where it was that I needed the money. I just didn't know what to do because nobody was educating us on Social Security. Did you know that in the year that I retire, I have a wage limitation? So if I reach full retirement age at 66 and 2 months, I can't just start drawing my Social Security if I'm working full time, because if I made over a certain amount, $51,960, I got to give back $1 for every $3 over that back to Social Security. A lot of little niche and crannies here that are packed into this legislation that nobody wants to read the legislation. So why not come to a professional and let us use the software to show you how to maximize?
Again, those taxes, those penalties, those earnings limitations, and most importantly, incorporating your decision into your financial situation with all aspects taken into account. Your investment and retirement accounts accounted for and shown as part of the plan, supported by Social Security, and along with it, supporting your retirement. Let's make the most of this important tool, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get educated and make good decisions. John and his team at GulfCoast Financial Services will help sit down with you, run through the different scenarios, the different claiming options, show you all the implications and how to incorporate Social Security along with your written, financial-focused retirement and income plan. 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018. An important part of retirement planning, John, and a topic that we should definitely circle back and talk in more detail about on a frequent, often basis.
Well, I hope that anybody out there has a question that they'll write in to us. Go to our website, www.gulfcoastfinancial.net, and submit the answer. We'll be more than happy to get with you and give you the details of what we know. We have experts that we hire to give us the answers so that we can give them to you and give them to you properly. So, yeah, it's a big decision, Peter. It's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. And we're here to help, as you know, with that financial focused income plan.
386-755-9018, 386-755-9018, or GulfCoastFinancial.net online, GulfCoastFinancial.net. John, as always, appreciate the time and the insight that you provide.
Thank you, Peter. See you next week.
Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more financial focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities, Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through Gulf Coast Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. Gulf Coast Financial Services, Inc. is not affiliated with Kovac Securities, Inc. or Kovac Advisors, Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions.